Hey guys, Ross Merrill here, and it's time to open the final two starter decks for Shadowverse Evolve. On the left, we have Eternal Destiny featuring the Nightmare class, which is a combination of both Bloodcraft and Shadowcraft. And on the right, we have Impure Baptism for the Bishop class or Havencraft. As usual, let's go in numbering order and start with Eternal Destiny first. And if you're wondering why the deck is in this state, it's because this deck is way too popular. My supplier was not able to get the packaged version for me, so instead, he managed to get me a loose copy from the special starter deck set. But other than the play sheet, manual, and counters, everything should still be the same. Starting with the Miscellaneous Cards, we first have a Ghost token with Storm. So even though it's just a 1/1, it can attack the enemy leader the turn it is played. However, during your end phase, this card self-destructs, so it's only good for attacking for one turn. 3, 4, and 5. Next we have Forest Bat, but that is a really vile, malicious looking one. I mean, at this point, isn't it literally more of a monster or vampire bat? I don't think this is an ordinary Forest Bat, but this is just a basic 1/1 follower like nefarious tokens of the Elf deck. 3, 4, and 5. Our 3 EP points, and of course finally we have Luna, the Nightmare leader. Okay, now getting into the main deck, we have the legendary follower Queen Vampire of the Vampire trait. Whenever an allied Forest Bat comes into play, give it +1 attack and ward. And on Fanfare, play 2 Forest Bats. Now even though Forest Bats are very weak, having multiple followers with ward on your field can be very good defensively. And on main phase, act this card, reduce your leader's life by 1 in order to spawn 2 more Forest Bats. Very interesting. And very vampiric since you're paying your own leader's life. But essentially, even if your board is completely empty, you put the Vampire Queen down, and as long as you have at least 2 life to spare, you'll be ending the turn with 4 followers with ward on your field. Now technically they all only have 1 defense, so they can easily be gotten rid of with some kind of AoE attack or spell. I mean just a 1-cost Angelic Barrage or even something like Mithril Golem or Fafnir's Fanfare. But if your opponent doesn't have anything like that at your disposal, then you might very well survive another turn and then be able to counterattack with all your Forest Bats, which can now attack for 2. Okay, next we have our Alucard, our gold rare. He's pretty expensive at 7 cost, but in exchange he has Storm. And on strike, choose an enemy follower, deal 4 damage to it, then add 4 to your leader's defense, absorbing the enemy follower's life to prolong yours. Now I see why this is a vampire deck. And on Fanfare, Necro Charge 10, gain 2 attack. Necro Charge is a keyword exclusive to the Nightmare class, and these effects become active when you have at least a specified number of cards in your grave. Unlike the Witch's Spell Chain, which only counts spells, Necro Charge counts every single card that goes into your grave. But of course, just like in other card games, tokens are removed from the game when they are destroyed, so they will not add to this count. Very cool. Okay, so we have 3 copies of him, and next here is our 3/3/3 minion that can evolve for 1 cost. Playful Necromancer, which we are definitely getting 3 copies of. Now let's check out what happens when she evolves. On evolve, put 3 ghosts into play. And as we saw earlier, ghost tokens have Storm. So just by playing and evolving her, you instantly can send 3 damage to the enemy leader. Interesting. 3 over there. Put this down and continue with the main deck. Midnight Vampire. While this follower is in play, all of your Forest Bats gain Drain. Now Drain is another interesting keyword ability, which is exactly what it says. When a follower with Drain inflicts damage, whether it's to an enemy follower or the enemy leader, your leader recovers that same amount in life. But of course, this is somewhat controlled by the fact that Forest Bats are quite weak in nature, being just 1/1 at base. And on Fanfare, summon a Forest Bat. Of course. We better get 3 of these. Nice. And next we have a 3-cost spell, Night Horde. Summon 2 Forest Bats. Then choose an enemy follower and deal X damage to it, X being the number of Forest Bats you have in play. Interesting. 1, 2, and 3. And next we have Spectre. First, she has Bane, and on Fanfare, you can pay 2 of your leader's life to give this follower Rush and put the top card of your deck into your graveyard. Very evil, such that during the turn she is played, she can instantly go and death touch the enemy leader, killing it in 1 shot. Okay, 2 copies of deck. Next, we have Spartoy Sergeant. On Fanfare, put the top 2 cards of your deck into the graveyard. Okay, just assisting with the Necro Charge, 2 copies of that. Next, a 6-cost Undead King. On fanfare, choose up to 2 followers in your graveyard and add them to your hand. Nice! That's gonna be pretty good in the late game. 1, 2 copies of that. Next we have Lesser Mummy for 2 cost. He can evolve for 1 cost, and on fanfare, Necro Charge 10, this follower gains Storm. Since he has Storm, I would be very interested to see what happens after he evolves. Most of the evolve follower artworks are just recolors with maybe the orientation flips, but here and there we get some awesome completely new artwork like this. I really enjoy it. On strike, play a ghost. I see. So combined with the storm he gains from his previous form, that's a total of 4 damage on the board. That's pretty interesting because now this deck feels rather balanced to me, like with both pretty strong offensive and defensive capabilities. The values are not that high, but it seems good at surviving and able to quickly bring damage on the board. Lilim can be evolved for 1 cost, and on fanfare, place a forest bat in your EX area. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, let's check out the evolve. On strike, your leader recovers 2 life. Wow! That is pretty sick. So as long as your opponent is unable to do anything about her and she keeps on surviving, you're just gonna keep on recovering. And our last evolve unit is the Evolve Goliath, which we already saw in the Dragoncraft deck. Okay, I think we can just stick to the main deck for now. Razor Claw, a 2-cost quick that deals your leader 2 damage before dealing 3 damage to either the enemy leader or 1 enemy follower. Wow, that is gonna be painful. Undying Resentment, another quick. Choose an enemy follower, deal 3 damage to it, and then put the top card of your deck into your grave. Not bad. Should be 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and 1 cost, summon Bloodkin. Summon a forest bat and put 1 forest bat in your EX area. Okay, 3 copies of that. The fighter, 2, and 2 Goliaths, and ending off with 1 Angelic Sword Maiden. This seems like it'll be quite a difficult deck to master, but very fun and rewarding when you do. I don't usually play these kinds of decks in other card games, like sort of a darkness element, focus on filling up your grave, and maybe like a stealing life from the opponent, but still, very excited to test it out. Now, let the Impure Baptism begin with the Bishop class. Same old stuff, so we're just going to go straight into the cards. Miscellaneous cards first. First, we have a Holy Falcon token, a 3-cost 2/2 with Storm. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And here we have Holy Tiger, a 4-cost 4/4 with Storm as well. So the tokens seem rather aggressive, aggro-based in nature. And then we have 3 EP tokens. And of course, finally, our leader, Iris. Now, I am very surprised to see something as evil looking as this as the boss of this Bishop deck. This is the legendary follower, Skullfane on 7-cost 6/6 of the Zealotry and Idol traits. Whenever your amulets leave the field, deal 2 damage to all enemy leaders and all enemy followers. And on fanfare, look at the top 4 cards of your deck. You may put 1 amulet from among them into play and put the rest into your graveyard. I see. So at a glance, it looks like this deck will be very reliant on amulets as a mechanic. Okay, our 3 Skullfanes there. And there we go, our gold rare is an amulet as well for only 0 cost. Hair of Illusions. During the main phase, you can X this card and put it into your graveyard to choose an enemy follower and act it. Or, during the main phase, you can pay 10 play points, act this card and put it into your graveyard to banish all followers on the field. That is pretty crazy. 1, 2, and 3. Next, we have the Priest of the Cudgel, our 3/3/3, which can evolve for 1 cost. We are definitely getting 3 copies of him as well. And let's check out what he turns into. When evolves, choose an enemy follower with 3 or less defense and banish it. So other than playing around with amulets, the Bishop clearly has a mechanic of banishing the opponent's cards as well, which means it's probably gonna be super effective against Nightmare, which requires filling up your graveyard for Necro Charge. Oh man, so if I'm gonna do this matchup for my tutorial match, Bishop might just have a pretty big advantage. Next, we have a spell. Acolyte's Lights, a 4-cost quick. Choose 1 enemy follower, banish it, and then recover 2 of your leader's life. I see, more of that banish. 3 cost over there. And here we have Dual Flames, a 4-cost amulet. On fanfare, summon a Holy Tiger. I see. So maybe we'll get 1 amulet that summons the Falcon as well, so that you won't really be wasting turns just setting up your amulets because you get some damage on the board as well. During the main phase, you can pay 2, act this card and put it into your graveyard to summon another Holy Tiger. Wow. So the amulets all seem to have effects that can trigger by, well, basically sending them to the grave as cost and also paying a certain amount of play points. Cruel Priestess. Should a priestess really be cruel? On fanfare, choose an amulet that costs 5 or less from your grave and play it. Very good. I mean, you can just get your dual flames just like that. 2 copies of her. And next we have the Snake Priest. Dude, this bishop organization is starting to seem very shady. She's just a 1-cost 1/3 with ward. 1 and 2. And next we have Arden's Sister. She can be evolved for 1 cost. She has ward, and during your opponent's turn, the damage this follower deals increases by 1. A very good defensive unit. Now I'm curious to see what happens when she evolves. She keeps ward, and during the opponent's turn, the amount of damage she deals +2. That is a good card right there. Okay, so my sense so far is that Bishop is a kind of like a stalling control deck with good survivability and also removal. Okay, moving back to the main deck, here we have Guardian Sister. She can be evolved for 1 cost. She is another unit with ward, and on fanfare, if you have an amulet on the field, +1 defense. Strong! There are so many ward units in this deck. Very defensive in nature, I feel. And here we have her evolved form. Or did she just get married or something? She keeps her ward, and when evolves, your leader recovers 2 life. Wow, really defensive, this deck as a whole. And here we have the evolved Healing Angel that we already know the effects of from the Witch deck. Okay, next we have a 1-cost spell, Hallowed Dogma. It's a quick look at the top 5 cards from the deck. You may reveal an amulet from among them, add it to your hand, and return the rest to deck bottom in any order. Okay. So similar to the Sorcery Cache for the Witch deck, it's just your Amulet Searcher. Then a 3-cost Amulet, Death Sentence. This card comes into play Act, so you cannot use its effect the turn it's played. And its main phase effect is this. Act this card and put it into the grave, choose an enemy follower and destroy it. Literally a death sentence that takes 1 turn to, well, become usable. Next, another 1-cost Amulet, Pinion Prayer. During the main phase, pay 1 cost, act this card and put it into your grave to summon a Holy Falcon. Okay, there's our Holy Falcon summoning card. And another 2-cost Amulet, Beastly Vow. This card comes into play Act, and in the main phase, pay 1 cost, act this card and send it to the graveyard in order to summon a Holy Tiger. All of this reminds me of the Galaxy Shield or Galaxy Shield keyword ability from Duel Masters, where essentially you can summon powerful creatures or cast powerful spells for cheap, where there is a delay for 1 turn, where they only activate or come into play 1 turn after you pay the cost. So it's a bit similar to all of these amulets with a countdown. 1, 2, and 3. Then we have Angelic Sword Maiden, and of course Healing Angel, ending off with 2 copies of Angelic Snipe. Okay, so we have another 2 interesting decks at our disposal. Both seem to have mechanics that are quite different from the type of decks that I usually like to play in card games, so I'm quite excited to try them both in actual combat. See you guys in the upcoming tutorial match featuring these 2 decks, and after that, we will finally get to open the first booster box of Shadowverse Evolve. See you guys in the next Evolve video.